Hi, my name is Angel Tuccy. I am a media exposure specialist, 11-time best-selling author, and award-winning talk show host. And I'm going to teach you today how to take your comeback story and get it out into the media, create some publicity around it, get more people to say, I've heard of you, because without the world hearing your story, right, the world needs your story. And without it, we are missing out. So don't keep your story to yourself. What you have gone through matters, right? And it can help so many other people just by hearing your comeback story. And that's what makes everybody a champion. When you read anybody's biography, when you hear anybody's success story, what you hear as a common theme is how many challenges they had to get there, right? The Chinese saying, fall down 7 times, but get up 8. Your story is meant to make an impact. And I will tell you that there are folks in media, there are journalists, there are podcasters, there are editors of magazines, author or publishing companies. They are looking for human interest stories. They're looking for fresh new content, and they're looking to share more stories every single day. So I want you to ask yourself, why not me? Or do you ever feel like I have a story so big that if more people heard of it, it would make a bigger impact in the world? I could change the world if people heard my story. I believe you, right? That's what we're looking for every single day, are these fresh new stories. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of steps on how you can leverage that story for more publicity, PR, and then how you can market that and monetize that exposure to build your business, brand, or book. And I'll tell you what, it is an exciting journey. Hopefully, I'm going to disrupt some of the things that you've thought about publicity, media, and marketing, give you some new ideas. But I was an award-winning talk show host for over 10 years out of Denver, Colorado. I hosted a 2-hour business talk show, and in a 6-minute commercial break, we changed studios, and I was hosting a second 2-hour Christian lifestyle show. So I was the host of 4 hours of talk radio every day. Like I said, I've been published 11 times. Actually, by the time you see this, that number is probably going to be 12. And I still host a new morning talk show, the Angel and Tina Morning Show, that came out during the pandemic. We thought was just going to be a 2-week, temporary show during the temporary social distancing. And as of the middle of August, we celebrated with our 100th episode, and it broadcasts every day, the Angel and Tina Morning Show, on all the global streaming networks, nationally and globally syndicated on Roku, Chromecast, Apple TV, and all of the above, right? But what I do most is help entrepreneurs and authors get their story out into the media. They call me a media matchmaker because I help you find stages and get booked, right? I'm also a media coach, and I help with publicity and PR. So let's jump into this today, shall we? Let's get you noticed. Let's get more people to say, I've heard of you, and I can't wait to be a part of your journey and hear your story. So number one, this is how we start, right? Number one, how do we get our brand out there? When you think about how most businesses will say, most entrepreneurs or even authors who have written a book say, I wish more people have heard of me, right? I've got this amazing story. When you ask most small businesses, what's the number one thing they need is they need visibility. They need customers, and customers is directly tied to exposure, and revenue is directly tied to exposure. And yet a lot of what we've been taught is to be on this hamster wheel of telling our story one person at a time, right? Building our business and attracting leads, all of this one person at a time. But with the power of media and publicity, you can build your business and build your brand and get your story out one to many. That's the power. And what makes it so beautiful, what do I have? Normally I have right here, my little sleep mask that I show people. I put on my sleep mask. Oh, it's right here. It was pink, but it was upside down, right? And so with your sleep mask on, how do I put, goodness, right? With my sleep mask on, right? All I have to do is wake up in the morning, get an interview on a radio show, a television, magazine, a podcast, a summit, and I can impact hundreds of thousands without ever leaving my bed. That's the power of media and publicity. Plus, by being interviewed on other people's platforms, radio, television, magazine, podcast, I call it OPP, You get the transfer of trust that comes from being an interviewed guest. When somebody has their own program, the audience already trusts that program. They trust that journalist, and that trust transfers immediately over to you. You elevate your credibility by being an interviewed guest. You get the exclusive spot of saying, hey, I've been featured on. And speaking of being featured on, you also get all those fabulous logos. So think about, who do you want to be interviewed by? Whose show would you want to be featured on? Who do you want to come calling with a camera crew, or put a microphone in front of you and say, tell me your story? So write your wish list. Who do you want that to be? Where do you want your story to go? Who do you want to share it with? What stage do you want to speak on? Who do you want to share that stage with? You need a wish list. Like, let's start to get those juices flowing, because you get what you order, right? When you have faith and you take action, the world shows up to support you, to guide you, to create a miracle. So start by making your wish list. I have a little sticky note that's here on my desk. This is kind of my theme for right now. Become obsessed with what you want, because you get what you think about most. So we become very obsessed with exposure and revenue here at Media Mastery, right? Because we know that we can make a bigger impact if we can get our story out on OPP, other people's platforms. And here's the numbers to that. If you speak on just 2 features a week, a radio, an interview, a magazine, a podcast, a summit, 2 features a week puts you on 100 stages in a year. 2 features a week is consistent, right? Baby steps. It's not these big giant leaps. We just want to move you every single week, creating that momentum and that consistent exposure for building your brand. In addition to those 2 steps a week, those 2 features a week, 1 press release every single month will put you now in front of hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands. Can you start to feel the impact your story is going to have in the world? I hope so. I want you to dream big. And then I want you to just dream a little bit bigger, because that's what got you here. Every single day so far, you've been able to survive pretty much everything that the world has thrown at you, right? Might not have been pretty. In fact, probably pretty ugly, but you're still here and you're making an impact. And you have no idea how powerful your story can be until it is shared on somebody else's platform, somebody else who trusts you with their audience, who puts their microphone in front of you and says, let me introduce you to my tribe. That's when you know, right? That you've just, well, it's all good stuff, right? It's all good stuff. So number 1, make your wish list. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to share stages with? How do you want your story to get out into the world? Is it radio, television? How about movies? How about having your own TV series? The world is our oyster. So the only limitation is happening right here. So let's just take all of that off and jump forward, shall we? Second piece is we need to position you as a content expert, an expert in your space, an expert in breakthrough, an expert in, and so think about this. What do people want to pick your brain about? What do they ask you the most? Hey, can I ask you, how do you, right? What is it that they ask you the most that they want to pick your brain about? Or if I was to hand you this microphone right now, and I've got my little microphone right here, what could you speak on for 20 minutes passionately, right? And you wouldn't need to prepare, right? If you didn't have any time to prepare and you could speak passionately on a topic, and I put a microphone in front of you and said, you've got 20 minutes, what would that topic be? This is where I want you to start to really hone in on, what's your story? What's your expertise? What do you want to be known for? And I want you to just pick one. I know, lots, right? I could talk about marriage. I could talk about parenting. I could talk about being an empty nester. I could talk about being an entrepreneur. Like, there's a lot of things that I could talk about that I have experience in my life. But what the jackpot topic is, what puts me on the right stages in front of the right clients? Then we've got a jackpot. Right? So media exposure, I'm the media matchmaker, the media specialist. That's going to put me on the right stages in front of my target audience, perfect clients. So what is your topic? That is that jackpot. You don't have to know it right now, but let it marinate, right? Let it start to come to you, right? Make a list. These are the things that people ask me about. These are the things that I'm passionate about talking about. And then this is the topic that puts me in front of my perfect clients, that brings clients to me, that attracts clients. That's that conversation that I want to have. And then let's do a Google test. Yes, a Google test. We want to find out if your topic is what the media is looking for. Are they interested in covering that? So go to your Google and just type into the search bar. So if I talk about media exposure, and really it's about media for entrepreneurs. So if I type in media for entrepreneurs, I could talk about authors, I could talk about business branding, business exposure. And so for media for entrepreneurs, what you end up there is remember, Google is a search engine, so it's going to give you everything about that. But it's got this nice little sub search bar at the very top. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, right? Where it says images, shopping, videos. It also has one that says news. Click on that. Your topic in the search bar and news. It now gives you an instant media database of media outlets that are covering your topic, which means you could reach out to any one of these journalists directly with your media pitch, with your press release, right? With your inquiry to say, hey, I'm an expert on, and so this is how we test it. We want to first find the topic that matches up, right? Those perfect clients, but also that puts you on those perfect stages. So hold on to that, because we're going to come back to that on how we leverage that and how we pull that together, what you should say to them. Like, okay, well, there they are. Now what do I do next? Okay, so let's put that on pause just a little bit. So you've got your wish list. You now have your instant media database. You also have your topic. Underneath your topic, I want you to just give me like 3 bullet points. What are the results? What are the talking points? What are the breakthroughs that you're going to share? Because when you're a guest on somebody else's platform, this isn't a sales pitch. It's not an infomercial. We want to take your publicity hat off, or your sales hat off, and put your publicity hat on. So what are you going to share with us? When you are an invited guest on somebody else's stage, somebody else's platform being interviewed, you want to make sure that the audience receives value from listening to you, even if they don't buy from you. I'm going to say that again, because this is really critical. Even if they don't buy from you, there still has to be value. You want to give value to the journalist who's interviewing you, that platform, and to their audience, even if they don't purchase your book, if they don't sign up with your program. So by positioning you as this content expert and having these 3 critical talking points, these breakthroughs, these results, it takes you out of sales mode. And now you are a content expert. Now we've got a pitch that we can put together to get you invited onto these stages. And you probably talk about them already, right? In your 30-second elevator pitch, you're like, hey, I help this many, I help entrepreneurs, or I help moms lose weight after their baby, right? I help you get ready for, whatever. Like, you have the results already. So let's just take those 3 results and become the specialist of that. So I am the expert in this, right? These are the 3 results that I'm going to share when I'm a guest on your platform, right? On your program. So number 1 is your wish list. Now we have your wish list and a database. Number 2 is positioning you as that content expert. Number 3 is we need to put together a press release, some PR, some publicity. We need to alert the press, right? Got news, alert the press. We need to put out a press release every single month to create that momentum and consistency that's going to drive your business forward. Now, one of the things that we are taught as business owners is to go out and build our business one-to-one, right? One-on-one coffee meetings, one-on-one text messages, one-on-one LinkedIn. Like, even if we're really fast about sending out text messages and LinkedIn messages and reaching out to people, there's a limit to how much we can really do. At some point, we will hit a ceiling. But by speaking one-to-many on other people's platforms, there's no limit. We can impact hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands. The other kind of thing that we've been taught is that people aren't going to search for you. They're going to search for your company, your what do you solve for? So you want to make sure that you're optimized. Your website, your online platforms are all optimized for what people are searching for, right? How do I? How do I get more PR? How do I get on media? Right? You want to make sure that your website and your online platforms are all optimized for that. Absolutely. But by being a guest on other people's platforms, now people have heard of you. Right? So when you're the one on stage, you're the one being referred to, you're the one being interviewed, people are going to research you, right? They're going to look you up on LinkedIn. They're going to look you up on social. They're going to Google you. A press release ensures that when they Google you, they find you. And they don't just find you a little bit. They don't have to search for you. That there are hundreds and thousands of results that show up by searching for you. A press release is a current event. It's a news document that we submit to publicists, to the media, to let them know what's happening in your business. By putting out one every single month, you increase all of that searchability, that Google food that happens when people are searching for you. And so I'm going to give you some tips on how to write that press release, on what it needs to include, and then some of the results that happen when you start to do this month after month after month, right? You become so visible that you can't be ignored. It creates social media content, scroll stopping social media content. By your story being sent to the media and it getting picked up, you're now featured on all those major network logos, right? ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, MarketWatch, your local news channels, right? All of this, right? You want more exposure, you want more people to say they've heard of you, put out a press release. You want to connect directly with media and journalists, put out a press release. You want to optimize the search engine, put out a press release. You want to attract more leads, put out a press release. You want to dictate the story and control the narrative of your book, business, or brand, put out a press release. So here's what that looks like. It needs to be current events, right? It's news. It's brand new, right? The first three letters are new, right? They're not doing a story on the media about a traffic jam that happened 3 weeks ago. It's current events. So look at your calendar. What's new? Look back 2 weeks, look ahead 2 weeks, and I want you to say, what's happened? Have you had a breakthrough? Hit a milestone? Aligned with a nonprofit? Published a book? Launched a course? Became a bestseller? Right? We have designed a PR subscription service where we have 16 templates of all these milestones that most small businesses hit in any given month, right? 16 of them. And so every single month, if we're putting out a press release with one of these headlines, one of these milestones, we know that we can start to create, and we can create this incredible dynamic exposure. By putting this press release out, of course, it has to be new, it has to be newsworthy. You need a fun headline, right? That's actually not true. You don't need a fun headline. All you need is the facts. My company did this, right? My company launched a book, launched a course, hit a milestone, shared a stage, hosted an event. It doesn't even have to be a clever headline. It's just the facts. We want the statement of facts to be the headline. This gives you SEO, right? Search engine optimization. Also, when you post that pickup on your social media sites with that ABC, NBC, CBS logo, your brand name, right? Company name goes right along with it. A press release is anywhere from 350 to 500 words, 500 words maximum. So it's not everything. This is why putting out one every single month, you control the story of what people find when they, what people will read when they find you. And since Google is a search engine, when people look up something, Google's going to go out and find everything they can. So if somebody says, I'm looking for shoes, right? Google's going to find the billions of results for shoes. But when we put these long tail search words, right, multiple words into the search, red shoes for dogs, now we've narrowed down that focus, right? We've dropped it down into something far more specific. So when people have heard of you, they see you on stage, they're being referred to you, maybe they read your press release, and they go to look you up, right? And they type in, Angel Tuccy Media Specialist, right? Your name and your topic, that's a lot of words, right? And so by putting out all those words, it gives them a very narrow, more filtered result. When we put in the results for your headlines, and we might have 7 to 10 words in there, when we put in the results for your headlines, because they're picked up on so many platforms, we're going to have thousands of results, hundreds of thousands of results. And guess who's going to be at the top of it? Your website, your social media sites, your stronger platforms are going to be pushed up to the top because of all those media outlets that are sitting there underneath it that have picked up your story, pushing you up, and you crush it. You absolutely dominate the scroll. So a press release every month. Pick the date of your birthday, right? What day of the month does your birthday fall on? Mine falls on the 18th. So on the 18th, I put out a press release, right? It reminds me to look at my calendar and to put out something that's brand new, current event, got news, alert the press. We have an incredible PR subscription service for our clients who want to put out a press release every single month, month after month, to just dominate and crush it when it comes to PR and publicity. If you want to get started, I have a complimentary media guide online at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com, right? Makeyourbigimpact.com. I'll give you a complimentary media starter kit with 52 press release ideas and a template for writing that press release yourself. Also, an entire list of guaranteed media outlets to start pitching your story to, right? So here we have these journalists, right? I am the expert on. I write, these are my 3 talking points. Here's my current press release. And then the final pièce de résistance, the number one way to connect with media, to create marketing exposure, and to share your story is to become a published author. Right? Publish your story. Don't create that published asset that is your story. But don't just write what I call your heart book, right? That's your breakthrough, your love songs, your poetry, right? The heart book. If you have a heart story, a comeback story, a breakthrough story inside of you, I do want you to get it out, right? Put that out into the world. But most of the time, our heart book, our comeback story doesn't make money, right? We can't monetize it. So what I want you to create is your food book. I want you to put that heart story, that comeback story, that champion breakthrough story into a sales funnel, into a book that also attracts more perfect leads into your sales funnel, right? So a couple of examples. Right? This is the first book I ever published in 2009 called Lists That Saved My Life. It's all about work-life balance, time management, how I balance being a mom and a professional at the same time. My babies are now 27 and 22. I have 27-year-old twin girls and a 22-year-old son. So this book, 2 features a week, press release. I got it on the bestseller list for 32 weeks in a row, and I was selling books, right? People are hearing my story, I'm selling books. But I didn't have anything behind it in addition to offer to this target audience. So now we write what I call my food book, the book that puts food on the table. It's a 100-page love letter to your clients. It can be part of your follow-up process, part of your onboarding process. Include case studies for different clients and different results and all the different stories you want to get out in front of your prospects and your brand new customers. The food book is a 100-page love letter. It includes your story because people love stories, but it also talks very much about the next steps of how they can work with you. So ABCs of Exposure, it's my 11th book. It's an alphabetical guide to media, publishing, and speaking. So I have it all just alphabetically, cute little points on how to get your story out, press releases, networking, a real life media pitch sample, everything that you need to get you into media and PR. So that qualifies as my food book. 90 days from today, you could become a published author with a best-selling book with ongoing stages, ongoing publicity, being as featured on all those media outlets, be attracting more clients into your sales funnel, creating these ongoing assets, being the one in front of the room, building your business one to many, and creating so much exposure that you can now track it in the bank because your revenue is directly tied to your exposure. And it's all waiting for you to take the next step. So I'm Angel Tuccy. I am your media matchmaker, your media exposure specialist. Download your complimentary media starter kit at makeyourbigimpact.com. makeyourbigimpact.com. You can also join our free Facebook group where we are Media Matchmaker site. If you've got a platform looking for guests or you want to get booked, it's needaguest.com. So if you need a guest, go to needaguest.com. And if you want to get booked, go to needaguest.com. It'll take you right to our Facebook group. I'd love to plug you in, to play Media Matchmaker for you. I can't wait to hear your story because you are a comeback champion.